I accidentally had a real affair with my wife's AP's wife, and then, hey everyone, I've got a crazy story for you. I know it's long, but I promise it's worth the read. So, my life took a major turn a few months ago when I discovered that my wife was having an affair. We'd been married for 10 years, and I had no clue that anything was going on. It was a total shock when I found out, and I felt hurt, betrayed, and downright angry. I quickly figured out who her affair partner was. We will just call him AP, and through some online stalking, I discovered that he was married too. After a few days of mulling it over, I decided to reach out to his wife, thinking maybe we could team up to figure out how to handle this situation. I really wanted to get some revenge and had read so many stories about creative ways to do that I had really worked myself up and was genuinely looking forward to dropping the hammer hard. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I definitely didn't expect what happened next. I messaged her on Facebook, and we agreed to meet up at a coffee shop to talk about our cheating spouses. We chose a night when my wife was going to be going out shopping with her friends in the city, which was about 2 hours away. It just so happens that he too was going to the city with the boys. Imagine that. What a coincidence. I knew she wouldn't be home until 1 or 2 a.m., so I told my wife that I was getting a sitter for the kiddos and was going to go bowling and out to eat with my brother for the evening. I called him and filled him in on the whole situation, and he agreed to be my alibi. Our sitter came over and I told her I'd be back around 1 a.m. She is super sweet and the kids love her, so I felt comfortable and relaxed, knowing they would be well taken care of. I felt anxious and nervous on my way to the coffee shop, but when we met, it was like all those negative feelings almost instantly disappeared. She was stunningly beautiful, and I couldn't help but feel drawn to her. She had this incredible aura about her that made me feel instantly at ease. As we started talking, it quickly became apparent that we had more in common than just our cheating spouses. We both had kids, we were both feeling stuck in our marriages, and we both wanted more out of life. We liked the same music, the same shows and movies. We talked about our dreams, our desires, and our frustrations, and I couldn't believe how connected I felt to her. It was like I'd known her my whole life. Before we knew it, hours had passed, and the coffee shop was closing. We realized that we hadn't even discussed our revenge plan, but at that point, neither of us really cared. It just became something neither of us really wanted to discuss. We walked out to the parking lot, and as we stood there was this incredible electricity between us. We both knew we were about to do something we shouldn't, but it just felt so right. The moon was huge and bright, and the air was perfect. Our lips met in a passionate kiss, and the world seemed to melt away around us. As we pulled apart, she asked me to follow her, and I didn't hesitate for a second. I hopped in my car and followed her to the nicest hotel in town, and my heart was pounding in my chest as we checked in. We made our way to the elevator and up to the top floor to a beautiful suite. The room was huge, and we pulled back the curtains just enough to bring in some of that moonlight. That night, we made love, and it was the most intense, fulfilling experience I'd ever had. She told me that she and her husband hadn't been intimate in months, and I could see the pain in her eyes. But there, in that beautiful hotel suite, we found something neither of us had felt in a long time: true passion and connection. It's so crazy to think that while we were having our own life-changing experience, they were continuing their deceit. I mean, I know what we did wasn't exactly honest, but we were being honest and true to ourselves in that moment and in the midst of our circumstances. As we lay in each other's arms, we talked about what had happened and what it meant for our future. We both knew that what we had done was wrong, but in a way, it felt like the playing field had been leveled. It gave us the strength and courage to confront our spouses and tell them that we knew about the affair. So I went home, paid the sitter, went in and looked at the faces of my sleeping children. I knew the future was going to be challenging, but I vowed that no matter what, they would be the first and top priority through it all. Both of us had those difficult conversations with our spouses, and ultimately, we each decided to divorce them. It was a painful process, but it felt like the right thing to do, and throughout it all, we continued to support each other and grow closer. Months later, once the dust was settled, we started dating, and it was like a breath of fresh air. We could be ourselves with each other without any pretense or fear of judgment. Our connection only grew stronger, and we found that we were not only compatible emotionally, but also intellectually and physically. It was like we were made for each other. As we continued to explore our newfound relationship, we discovered new hobbies and interests together, things that we'd never had the chance to try before. We traveled to places we'd always wanted to visit and shared experiences that we'd only ever dreamed of. It was an incredibly liberating time, and we both felt alive and truly happy for the first time in years. It wasn't long before we knew that we both wanted this to last forever, if it could. So I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. Our kids, too, benefited from this change. They were all initially confused and upset by the divorce and by the fact that their parents were dating someone who wasn't their mother or father. However, as we all got to be around each other and the kids saw how much happier we were, they began to understand and even embrace the new family dynamic. We made the well-being of our children a top priority and made sure to be proactively and emotionally supportive to them. Eventually, our two families came together as one big, happy, extended family. As for our exes, they ended up staying together for a while, but their relationship was far from perfect. They apparently began to cheat on each other, and while they managed to maintain a semblance of stability, it was clear that their lives were nowhere near as fulfilling or balanced as ours. Not that it mattered. It's not a competition. Looking back, it's amazing to think about how everything unfolded. If you had told me a year ago that I'd accidentally have an affair with my wife's AP's wife and end up happier than ever, I would have thought you were crazy. But life has a funny way of working out sometimes, and I'm grateful for the path that led me to where I am today. I don't harbor any hatred or resentment towards my ex-wife or her AP. In fact, I'm grateful. If it weren't for their affair, I might have never met the incredible woman who is now my wife. We might have continued living our lives, stuck in unhappy marriages, never realizing that there was something better out there for us. So, there you have it, folks. That's the story of how I accidentally had a real affair with my wife's AP's wife, and how it changed our lives for the better. Well dang, what a way to end. What do you make of this? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more tangled threads.